When my daughter was born, something unexpected happened. Not only did she take her first breath, I did too. In that delivery room, when I held her tiny fragile fingers for the first time, I felt something inside me shift. Not loudly, not dramatically, but like a quiet earthquake that only I could feel. Like a quiet rebirth. I wasn't just becoming a mother, I was meeting a new version of myself. But what I didn't know then was that one day this new version of me, whose voice was once soft, hesitant, and hidden behind the masks of perfection, would become a voice that reaches millions of parents across the nation. This is not just my story. This is the story of every parent who has ever wondered, am I doing enough? Why is this so hard? Why does nobody prepare us for this? Before I became a parenting coach, before the book, the workshops, the community, I was an orthodontist. White coat, clinic, appointments, predictable days, prestigious work. I secured rank 2 in my postgraduate exams. Everyone around looked at me and said, "This is success, you have made it." But inside me, there was always a whisper, always a void. This is not my full story. This is not my full form. And it was undiscovered for years until motherhood arrived. Not gently, not perfectly, but with confusion, guilt, exhaustion, and an overwhelming love that scared me. And that whisper became louder. It was March 2020 when I was pregnant. My baby shower was planned for the first week of April. But then, on the 25th of March, the world stopped. India went into lockdown, and so did I. The lockdown kept extending, and I was in anxiety. I was stepping into motherhood with no clue about parenting, motherhood, nothing. My parents weren't around. My husband was away on COVID duties, and there was no house help. Some days I would just break down wondering, how am I supposed to do this? So I turned to only thing that I could do. Learning, reading, researching and repeating to prepare myself mentally and emotionally. I delivered my daughter on the 28th of June 2020. A few months later, the world slowly began to reopen. People went back to their jobs, but I couldn't. I had a tiny humans in my arms who needed me every minute. I didn't recognize myself. I looked exhausted. I felt lost. Maybe it was postpartum depression. Maybe it was the weight of responsibility. Or maybe it was both. Work felt impossible. COVID waves kept coming, and I wasn't ready to leave my newborn in the hands of someone coming from outside every day. I had to make the toughest decision of my life, my profession or my baby. I had invested years in making my identity, my dreams, my careers, and I was stepping into a new version of myself that I wasn't prepared for. I realized that I am replaceable everywhere, at work, in the society, everywhere. But in my child's life, in the life of the little one who calls me mama, I am not. I tried to console myself, thinking that I may have a career of 25 years instead of 30. Well, I'm proud of where I am today. But I say this with complete honesty. I don't want any parent to face that crosswords the way I did. It is not easy to step away from a profession that you have built with years of hard work, passion, and sacrifice. It is not easy to start something new. Parenting shouldn't break you. It shouldn't ask you, it shouldn't ask a part of yourself. Rather, it should empower you. Over the years, through my own struggles and experiences with a large number of parents, I have created systems that specially help working parents and nuclear families manage their children better without guilt. Systems that help you raise emotionally connected and deeply bonded children while raising yourself in your career and your individuality. Because no parent should ever have to choose between their child and their dreams. And no child should grow up without emotional connection just because their parents are working. There is a beautiful middle path, and I'm here because I found it. And I would love to help every parent who wishes to walk on this path. My daughter, barely a toddler, once had a meltdown. She cried and cried. It was like an inconsolable cry. My husband was on an emergency surgery. It was midnight, and I was exhausted. I yelled. I yelled at the top of my voice. The second she heard me, I saw her tiny face register fear. I never wanted to be a parent my child feared. I wanted to be the one she trusted the most in this world. That night, I sat on the floor beside her crib and kept crying. But instead of drowning in guilt, I made a decision. If I don't know how to parent, I will learn. And if I learn, I will teach. No parent should feel as alone as I felt that night. That moment became my turning point. A different kind of energy woke up in me, fierce, clear, and unapologetic. I walked the ramp. I broke every barrier that once held me back. I changed my profession. I started from absolute scratch, built my own empire, and eventually I wore a crown. I became unstoppable, not because the world believed in me, but because for the first time, I listened to the voice within me. I studied everything I could: child psychology, neuroscience, emotional therapy, trauma science, and parenting frameworks from across the world. I took certifications. I studied research papers at 2 a.m. I combined science and spirituality, evidence and empathy, and my voice started finding clarity. I started sharing small lessons on Instagram, tiny pieces of information I wish someone had told me when I was drowning inside motherhood. A few parents listened, then thousands, then lakhs. And one day I realized that the voice I once doubted is the voice that parents trusted. Recently, something happened with my 5-year-old daughter. She saw an old video on my husband's phone, just me and my husband sitting together, enjoying a quiet moment. She froze. Her eyes welled up, and then she broke down. She screamed, "How can you have fun without me?" She cried. She bit me in anger, and she bit her father too. Her whole world felt shaken. Her pain was real, her emotions were real, and her tears were real. At first, I was shocked. But then, I remembered a fascinating child psychology concept called the Oedipus and the Electra complex. Have you heard this earlier? Okay, let me explain. It's when a child naturally idealizes the parent of opposite gender and starts seeing the same gender parent as a competition. I'm sure you might have seen this play out. That little girl who pushes her mother away, who tries to hug her father, or that little boy who has a frown when his father kisses his mother. Relatable, right? In those moments that we often label as a misbehavior, it is something very different. It's not a tantrum, it's an emotional experience. A tiny heart is experiencing jealousy, attachment, insecurity, all together for the very first time. In fact, for the child, it isn't just an outburst, it's a heartbreak. That day reminded me once again: children feel deeply, far more deeply than we imagine. And we were able to handle that moment with calmness only because we had studied this concept. And honestly, it felt like a small parenting win for us. There is a beautiful saying: the eyes doesn't see what the mind doesn't know. Meaning, Your perception is always shaped by your knowledge, your beliefs, and your experiences. And this is exactly why I say that every parent must learn parenting, not because they're not good enough, but because when they understand their children better, they respond better, and we become better parents. In early 2025, my book Tiny Todd's Big Tantrums was launched by none other than the legendary Mr. Chetan Bhagat. That moment felt surreal, but this book isn't just pages, it's my heart, my journey, my mistakes, my learnings, and my entire journey. And when I got the response from people saying that this book has changed our life, this book has practical and powerful techniques that helps us manage their behavior, I understood that your voice can become someone else's survival guide. Today, I stand here as a parenting coach who has empowered 8,000 plus parents, a creator followed by more than 200 million thousand families. I have been invited to speak on CNBC Awards and various media platforms, a recipient of Vidarbha Ratna Award, and a proud mother of a toddler who's interviewed by Red FM. But all this did not happen because I was extraordinary. It happened only because I was honest. Honest about my voice and honest about my learnings. Today, I want to ask of every parent listening, your child does not need perfect parents, they need present ones. My talk invites you to shift from how do I stop this behavior to what is my child trying to say. To shift from my child never listens to me to my child is observing me all the time. To shift from control to connection, from fear to safety, from reacting to understanding. Because yelling doesn't teach emotional control, it teaches fear. Hitting doesn't teach discipline, it teaches distance. Punishment doesn't teach responsibility, it teaches shame. But your voice, when calm, grounded, and intentional, can build a child's entire emotional blueprint. Here's something I wish every parent knew. Your voice is not just sound, it is biology, it is frequency, it is wiring. Neuroscience shows that a child's developing brain is shaped more by how we speak than by what we speak. And research tells us something even more important. A child's brain is not only developed to regulate emotions, and the prefrontal cortex, the part that is responsible for reasoning, impulse control, and self control, doesn't fully mature until the age of 25. So, what happens when a parent yells? The child's brain instantly shifts into fight or flight mode. Their amygdala, that is the fear center, takes over. And in that moment, they stop learning, they start just surviving. But when a child feels emotionally safe, everything changes. The hippocampus takes over amygdala. Emotional safety improves learning, cooperation, and confidence. Our bodies are almost 70% water, and water carries vibrations incredibly well. Dr. Masaru Emoto's water experiment, although debated, shares a powerful metaphor. Water, when spoken to with love, forms beautiful patterns. Water exposed to anger forms chaotic ones. Now imagine a child made up of the same water, with the brain forming a million neural connection every second. If water can respond to emotion, how can a young mind not be shaped by your tone? Every word you speak is sculpting your neural circuitry. Every tone is telling your child either you are safe or be afraid. So when you speak with empathy, you're not being soft, you're being scientific. When you choose connection, you're not being permissive, you are being brainwise. And when you choose calmness, you're not losing control, you're gaining influence. So next time when you speak to your child, remember, you're not just guiding his behavior, you are shaping biology. You're not just raising a child, you are wiring the architecture of your child's future. Every parent carries a story of sacrifice, guilt, tears, laughter, sleepless nights, and silent victories. But parenting happens behind closed doors. The world doesn't see your heartbreaks, it sees only your output. Today, I want to tell you that your story matters, your voice matters, your healing matters. Because when a parent grows emotionally, the child grows automatically. When a parent heals, the family heals. When a parent learns, the world around a child changes. One day, your child will tell their story. And the story they tell, the confidence they carry, the self worth they feel, the choices they make will come from the voice they heard once at home. Your voice. Your voice becomes their inner voice. Your story becomes their subconscious story. Your healing becomes their freedom. So speak with empathy, love with presence, lead with calmness and kindness, and raise yourself as beautifully as you raise your child. Because your voice is powerful, your story is meaningful, and the world needs to know both. Thank you.